We have finally learned more about the Switch 2 after the Direct that just happened, and man, to say that it's divisive would be a massive, massive understatement. Personally, I'm really hyped for this system. I'm really trying to get it when it drops, but I definitely understand all the rage out there, and we definitely have to talk about it because Nintendo is definitely pulling some bullshit with this one. Now, personally, I know a lot of my hype for the Switch 2 mostly stems from the fact that I still don't even have the original Switch or the OLED model. I've been tempted to get myself the OLED model for at least like a year now, but I just always figured the Switch 2 is right around the corner, and now it finally is. We know it's releasing June 5th later this year, and as hyped as I am for the Switch 2, unfortunately, like I said, Nintendo is pulling some bullshit with this, man. There's a lot of negativity surrounding the price of games right now, surrounding even the price of the console and a couple of other things that we're going to get to later in the video. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about what got me excited, because despite all that, I am really looking forward to this console. I'm looking forward to this generation, and I don't think it's just because I missed the Switch generation. I think it's because I'm genuinely really excited for a couple of these games. Now, one game that really caught my attention, I'm not sure if I'm going to get it, is the Dusk Bloods. This game is from Software Games, the same people who made Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and the reason why I'm mentioning Bloodborne is because so many people for years now have been begging for a Bloodborne sequel. This game kind of looks like it's a homage to that, but it's not. It's a new game from Software, and the biggest curveball for me was the fact that it's a Nintendo Switch exclusively for the Switch 2. I never thought From Software would be making an exclusive Nintendo game, but here we are. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, a new story, a new game, and it's a multiplayer game, so that's definitely a big incentivizer for a lot of people out there. The next game we have to talk about is Mario Kart World, because this game really blew me away, and I can't express how hyped I am to get into this game, and I'm really hoping I can get that $500 Switch 2 bundle so I can actually get this game with it, because if you're trying to get Mario Kart World on its own, physically, it's going to run you, I think, almost $90. It's going to be $80 before tax, and that's insane to me. But again, we'll get to that later. This game is introducing a dynamic weather system where it could be sunny, it could be rainy. They didn't show snow, but I'm assuming there's going to be eventually courses that have snow, and we'll probably cycle through that as well. I'm really looking forward to see how that's going to affect the overall balance of karts and just how people are going to be setting up their karts to handle all the different types of terrains and weather, because we're also going to be dealing with a day and night cycle for the first time ever, I think, in a Mario Kart game, and that has me really excited as well, because since it's an open world game, when you pick a Grand Prix, all these courses and tracks are going to be connected to each other, so you're never going to stop driving. When they said that, I thought that was really fun. I thought that was a really good idea, and it just makes me wonder how fun it's going to be to deal with all the chaos in this game, because they also increased the amount of racers that we're going to have now. There's going to be a maximum amount of 24 racers on every single track. That to me just screams chaos. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Apart from that, they're also introducing a grind rail system where you can actually like grind these rails now, almost like you're skating the kart. That looks like so much fun to me. And you can also drive on the walls and hop off of them. So seeing how that's going to affect shortcuts and just affect cutting people off and everything, I can't wait for Mario Kart World. I'm insanely hyped for that game. Now, really quickly, I feel like we also have to talk about the third-party stuff, because while I'm not going to mention every third-party game that looked worth getting on the Switch 2, the ones that caught my attention the most, Elden Ring and Cyberpunk. Go get those games if you haven't played them. They're amazing. I'm still finishing Elden Ring myself personally, but Cyberpunk, I'm almost done with it on the Xbox. I finished Phantom Liberty. It's an incredible game, and the Ultimate Edition of Cyberpunk is going to be releasing on the Switch 2, so that should be really great for a lot of people. And the last major game, in my opinion, that had me stupid hyped, had me going ape shit, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I've been a huge Donkey Kong fan since I was a little kid. I'm going to take it way back here. King of Swing on the Game Boy Advance. Now, I know it's probably not as far as like the 64, like some of y'all OGs, but that's when I really got into Donkey Kong. And if any of you played King of Swing, if you played the sequel, Jungle Climber on the DS, please let me know in the comments, because I'm always trying to see or just like find other fans of those games, because I feel like to this day, they're so underrated and they're so slept on. But Donkey Kong Bonanza, man, this game... First of all, the fact that he's finally back, okay? It's been so long since Bro's had his own game, and now they finally gave him his 3D game, and he looks glorious, bro. Look at this design, look at the character, it looks great. I love the way Donkey Kong looks in this. I think the gameplay looks really fun, exactly what you'd expect from a Donkey Kong 3D game, and I'm just really looking forward to getting into this. I mean, what else is there to say, dude? Donkey Kong's finally back. You know you're excited for it. You know I'm excited for it. Everybody's excited for it. Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be amazing. Now, as great as that is, we have to get into the negativity surrounding the Switch 2 because there is a lot of it, starting with the price. Now, personally, I was really hoping that Nintendo would price the base console by itself at $400 and that they would price whatever bundle they were going to release at $450. But knowing Nintendo, and of course them being them, they went a step further and they priced the base console by itself at $450, and the bundle with Mario Kart World, which is a digital download, by the way, you're not even getting a physical copy of the game, is priced at $500. Now, personally, just for full transparency's sake, I'm trying to go for that $500 bundle simply because I'm not trying to pay $80 for the physical version of Mario Kart World, because that brings me to my next point, the price of these games. The price of these games is what I'm sure you've seen everybody talking about. Nobody will shut up about it, and rightfully so, because it's bullshit, dude. I understand that a lot of people have been posting pictures from old magazines, old catalogs from the 64 days when games were $70, $60, and all this other stuff, but you have to keep in mind, games are selling a shit ton a lot more now. They're making so much more money now than they were back then. And not only that, the fact that this system itself is already, so expensive. Obviously, I wasn't expecting the Switch 2 to be $300. I wasn't expecting the Switch 2 to be $350, but it is a little steep, even for the base console itself being $450. The fact that they're pricing it at that, come on. I honestly feel like if Nintendo would have gone with $60 digital games and $70 physical games, you wouldn't be hearing half the complaints you're hearing right now, and instantly a lot of people would shut up. And if people were to complain and say, why is this game $70? Damn well you'd hear a lot of people, or you'd read a lot of people saying, dude, you can afford $10, it's not the end of the world. That's what you'd have a lot of people saying. But no, Nintendo being Nintendo went a step further, and now we're getting $80 to $90 physical games. That's ridiculous. That's insane in my opinion. That's completely absurd. There's no reason why these games should be that expensive. And I think another thing as well that just gets me really concerned and worried now going forward is Nintendo is really setting a bad precedent for the future of games now. I'm sure you've seen a lot of people saying that GTA 6 is most likely definitely going to be $90 or $100 now, and while that would fucking suck, of course, I don't think anybody wants that. I also don't think a lot of people would be surprised if that actually does end up happening. If that game even ends up releasing later this year, that's beside the point. But it really does suck to think of how this is going to possibly affect the rest of the industry. I've seen so many people saying, the industry needs to crash right now. Nintendo really needs to learn their lesson, blah, blah, blah. Also, other people saying some stuff that I respectfully think is a little bit of a reach, saying that, the Switch 2 is going to be just as bad as the Wii U, or this is like a generational flop incoming for Nintendo. I don't think it's going to be all that, because unfortunately there is a lot of people out there that are just going to bite the bullet and just going to get it. And honestly, I'm one of them, because I'm trying to get that 500 bundle, and that's mostly because I just skipped the whole generation with the Switch, but also because I'm not trying to pay $80 for the physical version of the new Mario Kart game. And don't lie to yourself, you want to play that Mario Kart game. If you're a Mario Kart fan, if you've been a Nintendo fan for years, there was a lot to look forward to from this Direct, but it has to be said, the price of these games is just straight up bullshit. Now, something else that has to be mentioned is the fact that Nintendo finally made their own version of Game Chat. We all know that they're all usually a generation behind, and there's nothing really wrong with that because, they always do things to their own pace and in their own way, and they're always doing their own thing. But the fact that they're making you pay for this game chat feature, in my opinion, is incredibly insulting to all their customers, because keep in mind, they're already raising the price on games, which is bullshit. Raising the price on the console, while it might be reasonable to some people, it is still pretty steep for a lot of other people. So taking all that into consideration, and then they finally decide to add their own version of game chat, which does have some decent features. I do appreciate the fact that the Switch 2 microphone that's built in, if it's in docked mode, and let's say you're in your living room, it can block out other noises, and there's definitely other cool features that it has. But the fact that they're making you pay for that feature that should just be part of the Switch 2, that should just be part of the online infrastructure and part of the service, that's bullshit in my opinion, because other companies like Xbox and PlayStation have had it for years. And remember, Discord is still free. Now, something else that just really disappointed me about Nintendo and how they're handling physical media is the fact that now, even though the Switch 2 is still going to be using game cards, the entire game will not be on the game card. And obviously, for certain games like Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, GTA 6, when it eventually comes out, and if it ever releases on the Switch 2, I wouldn't expect the entire game, if a game's that big, to be on the game card. But for other games, smaller games, indie games even, you're going to tell me that you can't get the entire game on the game card. That's bullshit to me. And it really just feels like Nintendo is really trying to kill physical media with this once again, or just de-incentivize people even more to, stir them away from physical media and steer them away from spending their money that way. Because not only have they made physical media a lot more expensive with the Switch 2, now, most people know that you're not even getting the entire game on the game card. Now, I guess a small silver lining with this, bullshit and with this situation is that once you do put the game card in the Switch 2 and you download the rest of the game, you don't have to do that ever again. So I guess if you want to view it that way, that is a small silver lining to it. But still, Nintendo is making it so much harder to just keep physical media alive and just preserve games in that way. And I know a lot of people are going to say, that's not true game preservation, that emulation is real game preservation. And yes, you might have a point, but that doesn't change the fact that there's still a lot of people out there that still want to keep collecting physical media, and Nintendo is just being a huge pain in the ass about it. And I think that's pretty much everything I have to say on the Switch 2 as of right now. Again, I'm massively hyped for this system, not only because I just missed the entire Switch generation, but because I genuinely think there's still a lot to look forward to from Nintendo going forward with the Switch 2. Yeah, they're on their bullshit. Yeah, they're making a lot of just stupid decisions, in my opinion. But still, I'm looking forward to the console, and I'm looking forward to what they have to deliver come June and come just the rest of the year and the rest of the generation. But with all that being said, let me know your thoughts on the Switch 2, your current thoughts on Nintendo, if you're done with them, if you're looking forward to the system, what you're planning to get if you are getting a Switch 2, and just, let me know your thoughts, man. I'm excited to hear what everybody has to say. My name's Nico. Thank you so much to all of you for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share the video as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see all of you in the next one.